Alright, what is poppin', people? I'm here. But this time, I gotta show y'all that even in tournaments, I'm built just a little bit different than your average Pokemon player. Alright, so listen up, listen up, listen up. So, for the uninformed, or the unaware, I guess, there's a section on Smogon called CAP, which stands for Create a Pokemon. And basically, the goal of CAP is to create Pokemon and see how they would fare in the OU metagame. It's essentially like, think about like adding Fakemon from a fan game and then just having competitive tiers around that. But there's this whole process where they vote on like concepts for Pokemon that they want to work around with, and then like do things for the stats, the move pools, the art. It's a very long and tedious process, but it's pretty interesting. And aside from just the creating Pokemon process, they also actually do have obviously the metagame aspect of it. And right now they're doing a snake draft. I signed up because it's relatively low stress on my end. You know, I don't take myself seriously at all when I play in this. And, well, here's my week 1 game. I honestly didn't know if I'd start or not because I don't really play at all, so I don't know what people think of me. But I had a game against Maki's Fox. I brought Rain because I didn't really... Okay, so here's the thing, right? So I could sort of base what's going to be good in Cap based off of OU. And while I watch some OU on YouTube, I don't play OU all too much. And so, you know, my idea of team structures probably isn't the most up to date. However, brain dead Rain offense never goes out of style. And so I rolled up with some Rain. I've got just Spinef, Pharaoh, Fizdef, Pelly, Life Orb, Special Seismitoad with my rocks. I got a CB Water Urshifu. I got a CB Barraskewda. And then I have an offensive Zapdos. Max Special Attack Modest with Thunder, Hurricane, Weather Ball. I wanted to use this mod under Rain in OU. I never bothered to. And well, I got a chance to here because otherwise I was going to get run down by a Rillaboom and that wasn't going to be fun. And at preview, when I looked at my opponent's team, the only thing that really stood out to me as a potential threat was the Krilliwatt. Everything else I viewed as pretty much manageable. But from turn 1, I'm looking at their team and I'm like, okay, they're leading Krilliwatt. My easiest lead is the Pelipper, because, you know, I set up Rain, and if they lead Krilliwatt, then that's a free Volt switch. Now, funnily enough, I think I actually am going to make a misplay on turn 1, so as they were expected to do, they lead off with the Krilliwatt, I lead off with Ferrothorn. Now, this is not a bad lead at all for me, this is a good lead, but since I knew they were going to lead Krilliwatt, couldn't I just let Seismitoad and set my rocks up? You'll actually see this come into play a little bit later that I didn't get rocks up. And while obviously if I did, the overall sequence of the battle would have been different, let's just assume same turn. So they lead Krilliwatt, I lead Ferrothorn. They have to Volt, so this is the freest knockoff of my life. And I get it off of the Clefable, and I see a helmet. Now again, I haven't played OU too much recently, so this kind of did scare me a little bit. I still wasn't sure if they'd be like something like CM with Flamethrower. So I do run away, tail tucked between my legs, you know the deal. I got into my Pelipper, figure I can take anything really, and I go for Knock. This doesn't really ever impact the game, but it is kind of annoying to have my Rain cut down. Fortunately for me, I am built different, so I know I get a free U-turn here as they said Stealth Rock. So I'm going to just get out my Skuda because they're switch-ins. Where are they? They go Krilliwatt, Liquidate. Now, I do think Life Orb might have been better to have on Barraskewda, and I think if I were Life Orb Skuda, I would have just won right here. I think me being CB actually helped them, because if I'm Life Orb, right, this Hydreigon cannot switch into me at all because I just close combat it. You know, this thing would have still taken a whole bunch from Rain-boosted Stab Liquidation, but they would have died to close combat, you know. So, maybe a little bit of a builder mishap there, but I do get both the rolls I need. And I KO that, and I go Hydreigon here, so... Look at their team. It's probably going to be some Defog variant. It's been creeping up more in OU as a pretty good check to Spectre. And so I figure, okay, so if it's Defog Hydra, it's probably going to be Scarf Lando. These Galar Kings are always AV. The Clefables, we already got the set revealed. We know it's just a utility Fizdef mon. And in the Mosa, I was still... throughout the battle, I was always kind of scared about it being Quiver Dance. So I deferred on deciding what set I thought it would be until very late in the battle. So they go Hydrate. I know my Ferrothorn's a pretty safe switch. I could take a Dark Pulse, especially from a Hydreigon that's not super offensively inclined. And this is just free Gyro. I know the Clef's gonna come out, so I figure I may as well force a Soft Boiled, and it gives me Barraskewda again. And so I can go right back to breaking with Liquidation. I know I'll do a whole bunch to Clef. Hydra's probably in 2-hit range, and if it's not, then it doesn't really want to take Rain Boosted Liquidates either. And so I just go for another to try to KO the Clef. They do go Hydreigon here. It doesn't take much. I'm going to stay in the Liquidate again because I died to Stealth Rock, and honestly I do value just pressuring their Hydreigon. I do think that was maybe a little bit of a questionable play. Maybe my opponent should have roosted there. They also may have just not wanted to give me his free switch into my Pelipper on the roost. So I think I could see that. Now go Shifu Rapid Strike here. I just assume he won't be max speed. That might be a shitty assumption to make. But I felt pretty good about Lefty's Hydra not being max speed. And worst case scenario, I bluffed that up Scarf. So this is a very free U-turn for me here. And I could just get Pelly back out to set the rain. Unfortunately, we did see the U-turn damage earlier in the battle. We know that we can't KO from this range, so I do have to Scald. And they go into the Galar King. And I do get a burn on that. I don't think it ever comes into play, but it is very helpful. And I know he's going to Future Sight here, so I just go for a Fog to get rid of the rocks. I figure it's nice to be able to help my Ferrothorn just so I'm not getting lefties negated. And, you know, Pelipper doesn't want to have to keep taking rocks when it switches in. Size is Life Orb, or Sheaf's going to pivot. Whole shebang. And so we're going to U here. We're going to go Pharaoh. I do predict a Flamethrower from them, but I know under Rain I can take it okay. And I end up not taking it that okay. But I do end up getting a favorable roll here. I figure that they were probably, they probably max rolled me into a min roll. And I get a Spike. It's pretty inconsequential Spike because all it hits is the Galar King. We do see later that the most is a Boots variety. But, hey, staving off some Regenerator health from something's never bad. And of course, I get to get my Rain back up. And I get a free U-turn into the Urshifu. And I'm going to fire off a Surging Strikes. I could have U-turned here, as the Clef Sack was really obvious, but I didn't. I didn't think I needed to make the play. And they go Lando. Now, looking at the team, it's very obvious that this is a Scarf Landorus. I could have stayed in, but I figured Urshifu was more valuable to me this game than Zapdos, and I do sack it to Stone Edge. I think if they had missed, I probably tanked the Future Sight, but it doesn't matter, because we get Lord Size himself, and this is where we see that getting rocks up earlier could have been cool, right? Because I had 2 turns of Rain left. Had I gotten to Oko here, which Stealth Rock would have allotted me, I could have gotten another KO right after, or at least chunked this Galar King. So that's where we see that maybe that turn 1, not leading with Size and instead opting for Ferrothorn, could be viewed as a misplay from me. I'm still not going to dedicate that kind of claim. I'm not going to dedicate to that kind of claim. I think both leads were fine, but I think it was something to keep in mind. Now they go Mosa here, and this mon is dangerous. When I see no item here, this is where I know I'm at least safe from Quiver Dance, because I believe those always go Life Orb with like Focus Blast, Ice Beam, Shockwave. And I'm still scared of the Mosa. I go Pele here on the CC, and I do get this read right. And then I think this next read here is also very important between whether or not they're going to CC again or Ice Beam me. And I do predict the Ice Beam and just Shifu in general to be the most safe play. And I get on the Ice Beam. That's super good because it means Landorus can't revenge me all too easily. But also because I still have Pelipper to set up the Rain again. I get Shifu in versus the Mosa, and I have a free Aqua Jet under the Rain. So they're going to sack the Galar King here. This is pretty much confirming Seismitoad could win the game at this point, because Galar King's no longer here to maybe take a hit in a pinch. They're going to go Lando here. I don't have to switch, so I just Aqua Jet again. At this point, I just have to set Rain back up, switch Shifu back in, and then it KOs with more Aqua Jets. They make the Pharaoh play here. Obviously, at this point, they have to try something. I give him the Pelipper because Shifu wins. But psych, I go Toad because I want Scythe to cut the last 2 KOs, won them all. And as we see here, Scythe does just that. So, I thought this was a pretty fun game. I put very minimal prep into this because honestly, I didn't want to have to bother my teammates to help me with team making, man. That's really the extent to my reasoning. But I also wanted to use Rain, and I felt, hey, I'm a fisherman. I like to fish for a matchup every now and again, and I got a good one. This was a pretty unlosable one for me, frankly, because when you're dealing with water resists like Krilliwatt and Hydreigon, it's very easy to pressure them. I do think I could optimize some things on this team, though, for sure. And there were a couple plays I didn't love that I made, but I think overall I played this game pretty well. So I do encourage y'all to maybe consider getting into Cap. It's not much different from OU outside of some new Pokemon. And while it does take some extra learning, obviously, so you know what those mons do, it's not much different, I figure, at least, than learning a new tier or playing OU at the beginning of a new generation when they release a whole bunch of new Pokemon. There's a ladder. It's not the most active. I think generally you can get battles though in the room. I think the room is just like create a Pokemon project, or I think it's something like that. I don't remember what it's titled, but community's generally pretty chill, and I like the tier. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Obviously, it's a little bit different, and it's going up really late at night, at least my time zone wise. Insomniacs Rise. Thank you guys for watching. Obviously, if you enjoyed, please like the video. And if you haven't subscribed already, well, what are you doing, friend? You haven't subscribed? Didn't you hear we're on the way to 200 subs by the end of December? We're not that far away. We can make it. I have faith in you guys. Anyhow, until next time, I hope you guys have a lovely time. I'll see you then. Peace.